This is Monday, July 27th, 2015. This is the CUSEN-wide Google Hangouts call, waiting for members to arrive. Hello.
Hello, this is David.
Hi. Hello.
We have Barry and Joy on the call.
Is it still just the three of us?
Yes.
Yeah.
David should be here, and Beth should be here. And Todd
Beth?
from Pittsburgh should be here.
Oh, cool. So how are you, Shannon?
Doing okay. Pretty tired, but just trying to stay balanced.
Yeah. Summer school there is probably busier than the school year, isn't it?
Yeah, this week we started summer term 2, and then at the end of this week, the school has a really big event. There are about 200 people on campus that are not students, so
Oh.
everybody's gearing up for that. Hi, David. How about you?
I'm doing all right. Trying to figure out how to advertise that I do weddings, because I enjoy doing them and the income is good.
that could be interesting.
Trying to figure out ways to supplement because I'm not earning enough through the church, and if I could do it through weddings, that's a great thing. Helps the church, helps me.
Maybe partner up with some other vendors in town. Wedding shows. Maybe talk to some people at some wedding events.
Yeah, that's true. You need to figure that out.
David? Can't hear you, David. Beth?
Oh, sorry. Hello.
Okay, cool. Just wait.
Can you hear me?
David, I can hear Beth. I can hear everybody but David.
I can hear Joy, and I can hear you.
Okay.
Hello, this is Joy.
I'm on the call too. This is Barry down in Elizabethtown.
Hi, Barry.
I know Pastor Colleen up in Louisville's also had quite a few weddings that she's been doing, including a couple just this last weekend, which was the 1-month anniversary of wedding of marriage equality.
Yeah, how about that? Yeah.
Beth, have there been quite a few inquiries in Elizabethtown for weddings?
We've had a few. We've actually got a wedding that we're doing this weekend. But we had one that was wanting, I think, the last Saturday in October, but we're not going to be able to do it. And then we had somebody that wanted one in September, and we're not going to be able to do that one. But
Okay, David should be back. I suggested he reset, so he'll be back. I know I'm still in contact with Margaret. I know that they've had, I don't know, one a week at least since the decision. Um,
Oh, really? Is she performing them?
yeah, some of them were old members that just would prefer that she do it, and a couple members from the congregation. So, yeah, they're it is wedding season in Columbus.
Yeah.
we're pretty excited for the one this weekend. It's a couple of guys, they don't attend church, but they're supporters of the church, and they're friends with all of us, and we're all pretty excited for the one this Saturday. It's going to be a good day. They're professional musicians, and they've got a heck of a band coming, and we're in it for the entertainment, if nothing else.
Joy, maybe create, I know you have the Eternal Joy Facebook page as a private group. Maybe just create a public page for just weddings.
Oh, that's a good idea. Uh-huh. Yeah. It's really such a joy to do this, and I always try to include counseling in it. And I think not everybody wants to get married separate from a church, but they don't always know where to go. Are we still there?
Yep, we're waiting to see if David's microphone will work.
We're just quiet, okay.
Sorry.
Barry, have you been doing weddings?
No, I've been the substitute person for Louisville whenever Colleen's out of town, but so far, and she has been out of town quite a bit this summer, but so far I haven't actually performed any. Colleen was able to go to a spirituality conference in Albuquerque, New Mexico, earlier this month with her husband, John. And while she was there, she was able to visit with a former member of our network, Reverend Paul Anway, who is now on staff at the MCC Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Oh, that's right. I remember Paul.
Right. Paul is a half-time chaplain at the University of New Mexico Hospital in Albuquerque, and I'm hoping to go full-time next year if possible. And then he's half-time at MCC Albuquerque in the congregational care area.
Is that a big MCC?
No, it's a mid-sized one. It's graying quite a bit, but they do have a full-time pastor just like we do at Louisville, and now they have Paul as the assistant. So seem to be doing fairly well. While we're waiting for a few minutes, I'll tell you guys about an interesting experience that I had in Louisville last month at MCC. We hosted the Fairness Campaign in Kentucky, which is our LGBT rights campaign. And they had a kind of a scoping meeting or a public feedback meeting for SAGE, which is the initiative to provide better elder care for LGBT community. And the goal is to have a SAGE chapter in the state of Kentucky within the next year. That's the goal.
Where at in Kentucky?
Well, at this time, I think the plan is to begin in the Louisville metro area, but also to emphasize Lexington and eventually northern Kentucky in the Cincinnati area. But I don't know that for positive. I think that was just the gist of the conversation.
Oh, I'd like to keep abreast of that because I helped start what we hope to be a SAGE chapter in Cincinnati, and it's still going.
That would be great if the Cincinnati chapter could partner with some northern Kentucky towns.
Yeah, it would be.
That would be a great thing. So.
Who is the contact person in Kentucky?
Well, right now it's the Fairness Campaign, and I'll look while we're talking. I'll look back to see if I have the name of the volunteer at the Fairness Campaign who's leading up the effort. Hopefully, I can find that while we're talking here. The director of the Fairness Campaign, Chris Hartman, he facilitated the meeting, but he did have one of their volunteers that was kind of the point person to, develop the enthusiasm for it.
Mm-hmm. Cool. That's great. Well, this little fledgling group, we call ourselves Senior Action Group because we can't be called SAGE yet. We hosted the senior tent at Pride in Cincinnati, and that was such a great way to get word out, and we were able to collect 50 questionnaires to start assessing the needs of the community.
Yeah, the questionnaires are really helpful because then that gives you guidance on what to emphasize at the very beginning.
Right. Yep. Yeah, it'd be nice to hear more about what's going on. Unfortunately, we're not connected to any big entity, and it feels like the successful SAGE chapters are already part of a nonprofit.
Right. Yeah, I think that often that is the case. There's a nonprofit that puts their weight and their resources behind
Hmm.
it.
Yeah, and we don't have that yet.
One of the things that I'm very interested in is how to increase the awareness and the sensitivity of the hospice experience for elder LGBTs. And I was
Hmm.
able to interact with one of the folks that was at our scoping meeting who has developed a program called Lifelines to both provide training for hospice workers and also to provide a more meaningful hospice experience to homes
Hmm.
that identify as LGBT. So one of the
Wonderful.
goals really, is to see the National Hospice Organization to adopt some of that, and that will give it some weight in places like Kentucky where it might otherwise have trouble getting a solid grounding if the national organization um, develops it.
Great. That's great. And the National Sage might be interested in what you're doing too,
Right,
since
I
they
think,
provide training.
right. Yeah, I think their involvement would also be a real key to that.
Hmm. That's wonderful.
Sorry, guys. Having some issues getting David in. I may put him on speakerphone on the phone.
Yeah.
Google and his new email address are having an issue. So uh, I'll know in just a minute if he's going to try again on the internet or if he wants the phone.
Well, I got started with looking at how to develop a Sage chapter because I've worked with so many, particularly gay elder men who have very limited resources and very few connections, no safety net.
Mhm.
I don't know if Sage is the way to build support, but I like the idea of local supports with national um, resources. I know the national chapter can't really save the day for anyone, but they have good information about aging issues.
Mhm. Right, and they can give a lot of guidance on how to develop resource lists and referral lists, and which is what every local community needs to do then to be able to make referrals in that
Yeah.
situation.
What we find in Cincinnati too is that it's true for all age groups, but it's particularly problematic for the older years. Is there's no good gathering place
Hmm.
for those who aren't yet, nursing home bound. There's a lot of loneliness
Hmm.
because it's not the bars aren't comfortable at those ages, and the prime timers, I don't know. I've never been to prime timers since it's all men, but it sounds like it's mostly drinking.
Hmm. It would be hard for people that are in recovery or that prefer not to have a really high charged social environment to go to a club that's centered around a lot of drinking.
Yeah.
And we do have a number of our dear folks at MCC Louisville who have challenges related to the aging process and accessing um, resources in the community. So I'm just really hoping that this can begin gelling in the near future. And I've agreed to help invite pastors of affirming churches in the Kentuckiana area to a information meeting once there's enough momentum to,
Mm.
have a pastors information meeting because they are going to be such important parts of the puzzle as referrals.
Hmm. Mm-hmm. Hmm. Referrals for hospice services?
Well, pastors frequently are referrals for hospice services, but just for the types of help that SAGE eventually will be able to supply once it's actually organized in Kentuckiana. I think many of the people that will want to interact with SAGE will be from faith communities because they have a really high value on supporting elders in their spiritual lives and in their you know, helping to meet needs and everything.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
Okay, guys, I'm going to put him in through speakerphone. I have to unplug my headphones, so hold on just a second.
Nice chatting with you, Barry.
Yeah, thank you, Joyce. Same here.
Can you hear David?
Hello?
Hi, David.
Hi, David.
Hi. I can hear barely, but I can hear.
Mm-hmm.
For now.
I'm seeing if I can enter in the room again.
Can you guys talk?
You guys, I turned my speaker up really high, so if it's too high, let me know.
No, you sound fine to me.
I can hear you good, Barry.
Okay, good. So it's turned up full blast.
Woo, technology.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but there's something about Hangouts that won't let me in the room tonight.
Mm.
Okay, they've just been chatting about what's going on with some different events, mostly wedding stuff, but I almost got started, but thought I'd wrestle a little bit longer with you.
So I'm back up to the please wait screen. Well, I mean, people been checking in about their churches?
Kind of. We have Joy from Dayton, Beth from E-Town, and Barry, and Colleen's not going to be in today, and I haven't heard from Todd, so just
It's not going to be here?
Dayton, E-Town, Louisville, and I have Columbus's update.
Did Todd say he would be on the call?
Yes, he did.
He did. He said that last night too. Well, why don't you go ahead and give us the update from Columbus?
Okay, the update from Columbus. I was kind of telling them that Margaret's been having some weddings, so the church has been having business with that. Okay, the email says, finally moving forward in visible ways with church remodeling after the water break. We got all sorts of electrical wiring issues up to code while we had the walls and ceilings open and ventilation ducts fixed. We have moved the office into the former storage room, which has better electrical setup because when we first moved in, it was the pastor's office and they'd added dedicated circuits for the pastor's computer. While they're going through stuff and pitching lots of it and moving what they want to keep, they're moving it all into the new office. So still people wouldn't notice most of it, but we started painting the sanctuary. There's Facebook pictures to see that, and there's new floor laminate, and there's a schedule for installation for the floor in the next 2 weeks. Tony Freeman is reviewing the materials that Margaret created in the 6-week discernment period, and will be providing input for the August 1st informal congregational meeting. The last meeting was to vote whether or not to choose to apply to become an Oasis group or close completely. Margaret's decided to retire for health reasons, and she's working with Tony on an exit plan. Alongside of being called about hosting weddings, they're also being asked to have concerts. So even if they're celebratory, they're going out with a celebration.
Okay. So when is that informal meeting again?
That will be the next couple weeks.
Now, and now the informal meeting, I guess they'll decide when to take a vote.
August 1st. Sorry.
That's an informal meeting, so they're not actually voting.
Right.
Okay.
They're meeting a lot, not making a lot of decisions at once. They're kind
August. What's August 1st?
Columbus will vote or talk about the vote to close or become an Oasis group.
Oh, but the vote will come later.
Yeah, so I want to say it's probably going to be like a mock run, just to kind of get a feel of what's going to happen. Columbus tends to be very mindful and take their time with their big decisions. So. And that's Columbus. David?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that was the end of the report.
Okay. I mean, I guess you haven't been attending this, so you're just reading what Margaret gave you, correct?
Right.
Well, I think we should all keep them in prayer at this time. I know that with the building being completed and Margaret, being sick and retiring and all this stuff going on, that's an awful lot. An awful lot that they're dealing with right now. Has Joy shared about Dayton yet?
A little bit.
I can go ahead if you want. Mostly I was talking about weddings earlier. We have a draft agreement with the church where we hope to move to the downtown of Dayton. We were able to settle on a price that we can afford, which was a huge victory for us, by agreeing to put in some sweat equity instead of paying it in rent. And they just called a new pastor. I went to hear him preach. He seems fine. The problem we still have is we've got to sell our building first. But looks like things are lined up for us to have a place and cooperatively using this gorgeous, gorgeous historic building in the downtown with a wonderful kitchen, fellowship hall. Fellowship hall has a stage, gorgeous sanctuary, and lots of parking. I'm really eager to get there because I've done more weeding than I care to do at our current building. We really aren't able to maintain it like we need to. Trying to think what else. I'm anxious to get my people planning to come to the network meeting. And I've thought about, since I have more time now, if I could help out with the planning group. Who's on the planning group for the network gathering?
Well, the network team, plus there are people at Pittsburgh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Tony's doing the bulk of this.
Tony
So
Friedman?
the network team just has to make sure that things are happening. So Tony's really doing 90% of what's happening.
Yeah. I wanted to suggest.
Go ahead.
I wanted to suggest thinking about having a musician come or something besides just kind of training, so that we have a different component that's not all head work, that's got some more spiritual work, some, energy building.
Well, I brought that up to Tony because the network team was planning on having various activities throughout the day to break it up, and Tony said that he's incorporated various activities throughout the day. I don't know what that is, but when I told Tony what the network team was planning, he's indicated that wasn't necessary because he's built a lot of that already in to the day. Will
we be able to plan something for Friday or Saturday night that's more festive? Or do we think people won't be there Friday or Saturday night?
Saturday, it's supposed to end late afternoon on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
What she's suggesting is maybe as a network outside of what Tony's doing, maybe we do something that's
Right.
more fun together.
Concert, worship.
We have the dinner Friday night.
Right, right. But some people might stay Saturday night if we created an event out of it.
I guess if people want, typically people do stay for. Some people will stay for worship the next day. That typically does happen. It's not a lot of people, but that does happen. I guess if we had a good read of people who were going to stay, that might help. With planning. I guess Joy are you planning on staying Saturday night?
If there's a reason to stay, I won't stay just to go to worship with Pittsburgh. But if there's something happening, I would consider it, and then have my people stay. I'm hoping to get them to rent a van and really bring a bunch of people.
That sounds cool. Now, my experience from the last couple of years, when that mid to late afternoon time hits, people are really tired. I wonder if we should plan that for Friday night because the hotel is only a mile away. It's not far at all this time.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if we should just plan on, maybe we could plan something Friday night.
Yeah, we could. We could do that.
Because again, I don't know everything Tony has planned, but I do wonder how many people would stay and for how long, because actually every network event I've attended, people start trickling out mid-afternoon, even if it's not done.
Yeah, true. I used to be part of the Heartland Network, which I don't think is as dynamic now as it was in former times, but I think it's just really, it's more like a revival kind of thing in the good sense of the word, if we can include music or worship or something in addition to learning activities.
Well, there will be worship in the morning.
Oh, Saturday morning. Okay.
Right. There will be breakfast and then worship and then the activity. Well, then the workshop. But Tony indicated he has activities spread out throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
So there will be a worship service.
Yeah, that's good. Okay.
So we can talk about Friday night though.
Okay. Well, we just happened to have Marcus Young come by in Dayton, and he's a wonderful singer, Christian gay singer. And of course, I love Sean Thomas, and neither one of them is expensive. I don't know if folks know either of those singers. I think Louisville has had Sean Thomas.
We've had Sean Thomas a few times. We love him.
Yeah, he's great.
Marcus has been at Louisville as well, and yeah, I agree with you. They're both really to be commended, to our congregations.
Mm-hmm.
How late is everything supposed to go on until Saturday? That'll be my deciding factor. I have a 6-hour drive home. So if it's after, say, 6, 7 p.m., of course I'll be staying the night because I don't want to drive until 2 a.m.
David, how late is a workshop? What time does it end on Saturday?
I'm gonna say 4 to 5.
Yeah, you might as well stay.
I don't have. No, Tony hasn't like given me like an exact agenda with time.
Yeah, that's true. Because since it's so far east for everybody to go, we may need to hunker down Saturday.
Maybe those of us interested can maybe get together and talk about something to do. I can strike up a conversation on the Facebook.
Some of us, it doesn't have to be the network team, but some of us can get together and talk about that. Joy, it could even be as people head back, we all head back together and stop somewhere and do something, have dinner together and do something. It could take it could take whatever form it takes. Because I think a lot of us would be going in the same direction. Actually, I think all of us will be going in the same direction for a period of time.
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever we can do to enhance connection.
I'll strike up a conversation on the cousin Facebook and see if anybody has any ideas, or there might be somebody in Pittsburgh that knows the area, that might know something that we can do together.
Yeah, Joy, the network team was sort of devising up different things at different times, so that people could connect, and people at the tables could activity and stuff. And when I talked to Tony about that, Tony said that he already had things incorporated that do that, and that we didn't have to do that. Again, I don't know what those things are, but the network team, we had a plan to have, as we had breaks throughout the day, to sort of use that time to do various activities for connection. And when I shared that with Tony, trying to figure out what he was doing, that's when he indicated that he already incorporates things like that throughout the day. So we're not just going to be sitting there all day. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Now one thing we're going to do to address that, Joy, is that we're trying to move to having 2 network events a year, where one network event is about learning something, and the other network event is all about connection.
Oh, yeah. Great.
Because the thing is that the resourcing and things like that is part of what the network team is supposed to do, and so we need to try to bring in or have sessions that people are going to learn something, but then to do the connection part well, we thought we could have another sort of event, and that's why one of the things that there's this monastery outside Cincinnati, called Mount St. Joseph's. Our Sisters of Charity is the monastery. The place is Mount St. Joseph's, and they've got rooms, and the food's already there and everything, and it's very cheap. The rooms are like $25 to $30.
All right.
Renting space is cheap. And you pay for, they have food already there with that cafeteria. You just pay for your meals for that. So it would be easy on us, and all we need to do is show up and have fun activities and stuff. So it would almost be more like a group retreat when we go to the monastery, and then the second event would be at a church where we would be doing something to learn together.
Sounds good.
So now next year, next year the plan is, we've got the big general conference next year in the summer, and actually a lot of people are not going to be able to go because it's so expensive. And so what the plan is to use the spring conference at the monastery to have some fun, but also go through a discussion about what's going to happen at conference. And then in the fall, after conference, because we don't know what's going to happen, there's going to be a lot of things that happen, sort of have like a debrief, like a network debrief in the fall about what happened at conference. Because, again, a lot of people aren't going to be at conference, so it'll give people a chance to sort of hear about what happened and why, and sort of talk about it and debrief about it, and whatever else is needed. But that's the plan right now for next year.
Sounds good. The monastery one, would you say, would be in the summer, and then debriefing is in the fall of 2016.
Right. The talk about the conference would be in the spring, and then the debrief after the conference would be in the fall. Yes. And I'm just not aware that a lot of people in the network are going to actually be at General Conference. I don't think there's going to be a lot of people going.
Yeah, we found out it's like $300 for the ferry.
Right.
And you can't, that's the only way to get in to where the conference building is. So that changed a lot of things for a lot of people that were planning on going.
Yeah, that to me, that's so bizarre. I know that wasn't considered in selecting the locations. So I guess who else has not spoken?
E-Town.
Beth?
Let's do a general, Beth. Everybody, I'll probably turn the recording off as soon as Barry does a general on Louisville.
Okay, so Beth already went?
No,
Well,
I was
I'm
just
gonna
letting
wait
everybody.
and go when we turn off the audio. I don't really have a general, and what I have to say, we're not really ready to go live feed yet. Yeah. So I'm gonna wait and give E-Town's report when we turn off the audio, or when we turn off the video. So let Barry go, and then I'll speak when we turn it off.
Okay. Reverend Colleen asked if I could share a little bit. First of all, the reason she's not part of the phone call tonight is because she's over at the eye doctor. She's had some strain on one of her eyes, and she wanted to have her eye checked to see if there was anything scary or what the eye doctor would suggest. So she's over there right now, and I would appreciate our prayers for her tonight when we have prayer time. And, I mentioned before we started, she and her husband John were able to go to a spirituality conference in Albuquerque, New Mexico earlier this month. It was a really excellent time for them, and they were able to visit with Paul Anway, who is now on staff at MCC Albuquerque, New Mexico, while they were in New Mexico. So they had a good visit with Paul there. And not last Sunday, but the Sunday before, which was the 19th of July, we had a congregational meeting to vote on whether to accept an offer for our building. We actually had several offers come in, and one of the offers was close to our asking price. And so the person that was interested in buying the property was willing to give us some benefits, like was willing to haul away some of the trash that would need to get hauled away in dumpsters and some other things like that at their own expense. And so with their willingness to help with some of the expenses and the fact that their offer was very close to our asking price, the congregation voted with a very strong mandate to sell the building.
Wow. So,
it's quite a moment in the life of the congregation. So basically, we had to ask for a zoning variance for the new buyer, but we found out from the city government that the zoning variance is not required for this sale, so there are no contingencies on the sale. And so we have agreed to vacate the premises within 90 days, which is quite a challenge because we do not know where we're going. Originally, we had looked at a church building a few miles away that looked like it would suit our needs, but found out in further inspections of that building that the amount of money it would take to bring it up to disability compliance and other issues like that was too great. And so we have decided not to continue to pursue that particular building. And so our interest right now is to find a place to rent for a year while we go ahead and look for a permanent place that we would be able to call home. And so we appreciate everybody's prayers that within the next 60 days or so we would find that temporary home and then be able to be out of the building by the time mid-October comes around. Thank you
Wow.
all for praying
But
for
well,
us.
Pittsburgh just had to do this and got a place within a month, so it can be done.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with you. So we're believing that it's gonna be there and it's gonna work out. So we're using the prayer of Jabez as a rallying point right now about expanding our borders. So that's what Reverend Colleen has shared in a couple of her recent sermons to encourage everybody. Also, for those of you that weren't on the leadership call, of course, a couple weeks ago, Reverend Kathy and her partner Robin have been going out to Paducah every so often recently to preach at Paducah. Reverend Lillian recently retired from her job at the school district in the IT department there. And so she and her spouse, Suzette, have been able to have some time away on some weekends thanks to Kathy and Robin substituting for them. And Kathy and Robin have been bringing back good reports from Paducah, but I don't know any specifics, but just generally really good things happening there.
Well,
That's
that's
all I've got.
great.
Okay, I'm going to stop the broadcast.